Hello, let's get started. So, first of all, I am not naked. I am wearing a tank top. It shows a lot of skin, and usually I wear a t-shirt and it looks different. But don't worry, I'm properly dressed, just for summer. And also it's 36-degree here. That's why I am more like, yeah, I really feel like it's really, really hot, and I have a fan on my desk. I hope it's not too loud, but it's not really like cool enough. So yeah, I don't know what else I could do. Um, and yeah, I'm also drinking iced coffee. Also help. And yeah. Mm. So you may ask like, why am I going back to this layout with all this code and stuff? With Atom rather than Jupyter Notebook, like because a few episodes before I was just like praising how good it is, like with Jupyter Notebook. Well, it's because we are doing something different today. We are actually. Oh, by the way, I'm also wearing a posture correction gadget because I realized I kind of like sometimes ban myself too much during the streaming, so I'm also wearing some gadgets. I would let you know whether it helps or not. Okay. um, but okay, so first, like, okay, things aside, we are actually doing some coding that's actually in the client. So we are not doing any tutorials or anything. You're actually seeing like a development process of the client, which it may not be out in the next cycle because it takes some time to get it right, and we really want to make it right. So you can see that this is called, so this is in the dev branch, so it's not in the master branch, so you have to go to the dev branch to see it. And so this is called smart query. So what does it mean is that the idea is to try to wrap everything or the query, because like in a few episodes before that, when I actually told you that it's sometimes it's very, very frustrating. So you have to pass all the correct data type into the WOQL data type, and then it has to match, and sometimes you make mistake and it doesn't match. So it's really frustrating. So that's why I think that it would be great if the object itself is actually represented in Python. So I do all this type checking beforehand. When I build a query, I just use this object to build a query. I don't have to call a WOQL query and then put in an insert, or put in the doc type and all this stuff. So everything will be like very, very fluent in Python, hopefully. So first of all, WoQL class, and so this is actually what I'm trying to do, is that remember when we have the schema, we have the doc types. So I try to wrap it in WoQL class, so you can also input a property in it, so you don't have to call a schema. You still have the app property that you could do, and also you can put in a label and description. It will become a property in it, so you can just do some getting setting. And also, yeah, this I would let you know why I do this, and actually why. Actually, I think it's better if I make this WoQL class a metaclass. So, yeah, so I have never done that before actually. So it's like a really advanced topic in Python. So it may be good or it may be bad. So I really don't know. We will see. We'll see, and it may be a bad idea. And also, we have the WOQL objects. So these are the objects that you insert into your graph. So you will have have the IDs. So I want to actually do the ID gen in here, so you don't have to fiddling with the ID gen. That I found it quite frustrating. I try to mimic it like this is not actually what ID gen is doing, but I am mimicking what they are doing in the ID gen. If you just put in a string, that it should wrap it up like this, but I mean, like, yeah, IDGen I think it do more than that, so that's why I'm not so sure. I have to check with my colleague who write that function in the backend. Also, what we have so far is like nowhere near done. Okay, so far. Oh, I also want to do this app. When you do add property, we actually check whether the property that you're adding matches the schema. So actually, yeah, so we need to kind of terminate DB object, obviously, that it will actually talk with the backend. It will just set up a client under the hood, so it will be an internal client that actually you would have, so it will actually sync up with your graphics already existing. It will actually sync up, so we get all these like graph from schema to get all the doc type, and so you have the information about whether the property is adding correctly. But if you're adding it like here, then of course like it will be yeah, it will be correct. So yeah, so the task today is to see if we can change it into a meta class. I've never, like I said, I've never done that before. So I'm not sure whether it will go well or not. And let me put the, so yeah, I'm reading something online that is maybe too small. So let me see if I can change it to here. Yes, this is yeah, this is what I've been reading. So we are now, we are like, actually we are, it's like we are doing it together. Um, that's whether we could write a meta class together. So the meta class is a class of a class. So why I have this idea is that because when I was writing, the WOQL object is a class, right? So I want to have a class of a class to be the doc types. So the docs are a class, so the doc type should be a class of a class. So that's why the ideas came in. And yeah, so the instance themselves are classes. So it generates the classes. So it will generate object out. And so it's a meta class. Yeah, I think at some point we'll use it. I just don't know whether it's like exactly what I'm thinking that yeah, we should have the WOQL class there to be a class of a class, or we just spit that out. I don't know. We will just see like after reading this. So yeah. So the thing is that executive meta where when it sees a class definition, so collect the attributes into a dictionary. Yes. The class definition. Yeah. So we generate all the attributes when we call the class. So this is what happening when we have a class. So we will have the attributes, and it will be stored internally as a dictionary. And actually, like I don't know whether it's too late to spin up a Jupyter notebook. Maybe I have a Jupyter notebook somewhere. Let me see. Localhost 400. So yeah, we can do some testing here actually. If it's not running, okay. Let me give me a second. Let me spin up a Jupyter notebook. Uh, right. So what I gotta do is to spin up a Jupyter notebook, which is the I would spin it up a tutorial because I can clean it up later. You're not seeing because I'm doing it under the behind the scenes, but it's fine. I don't want you to see my messiness, and we are now in tutorial, and I will run Jupyter. Oh, I'm not in an environment that I have Jupyter Notebook. Wait a second. Sorry. And yeah. Okay, now I can Jupyter Notebook. Right. Yep. Now we have Jupyter Notebook, and I would just, create a testing ground here. I won't check this in, so it's not that important. So maybe I'll just create a new Jupyter, like a new instance. So yeah, let's test out what does it mean. So, for example, I have the class. Class. What do I have? Let's say WOQL object. Let's say like it's not. So I will have a init, which now does nothing. And I would have some attribute, so maybe I will have some attribute. Okay, so dot id equals to id. So this is what I've written somewhere. So yeah, so this is my mimic, like my fake class. Oop, yeah, right. So now I can have a So when I have a class, so what does it say? So when I say class definition, it will have all the attributes, including method into dictionary. When a class definition is over, then it would determine the meta class of a class. Okay, so let's see what happens if I do a dir on the WOQL object. Yeah, it does have something. Does it store the attribute? Nope. Get attribute maybe is there. Let's see if we can do anything about it. So right, so I have the WOQL object, and then if I call get attribute, so what is it? It's not a callable. Oh, it needs an argument. Okay. So how can I see what attribute it has? So set actor size of subclasses. It got the module as well. Okay. So let's read on to see what it says. So meta, eventually Python executes meta, where meta is a meta class. Okay, so this is how you generate a class object. Not a class object, but a class. Name is the name. Basis is the basis classes. And DCT is the map attributes to the object. Okay. How determine. So if either class or one of its bases has a meta class attribute, type is the meta. So, okay. So if I have this, so if it's an object, then the type, it doesn't have meta class attributes, so type is used. Okay, so let's try this out. Right, and then I run this one on it. I just want to see what's inside actually. So okay, so it's like what is going on below under the hood. But if there's a meta class, then it will call meta class instead of type. Okay. My meta should be implemented approximately to support such calling. New and init, so how should I do it? So my meta is have a new, and then it will have a new meta, and then you can init. So control creation, initialization of classes, so you can implement the meta class new method or init constructor. Real life meta class will probably override just one of them. So is that new here? So I need a meta class. So if I have this, what would happen? So if I have this, oh, my meta is not defined, so it need to be something. Okay, so I don't have that meta class yet. This is demonstrate what's going on. So new that I would, so my meta is a subclass of a type. So this is a meta class, right? And then allocating memory for the class name super. Okay. So this one I can try it, right? So because I'm defining it. What? Oh, this is in Python 2. Oh my god, this is okay. My bad. Python free meta classes. Yeah. The problem is, like with Python is that there are lots of tutorials that's actually in Python 2. So okay. Right. Should look at the right one. So this is Python 7. Okay. New class. New style. Right. Yeah, this make more sense now. Like I was looking at something very old. That's why T and yeah, so you have different types, right? So T can be any type of object because the type X. So yeah, okay. So class full is so if I look at the type of if I look at the type of this, so yeah, ignore this one. I don't want Python 2. So if I look at the type of this WOQL object here, right? Let's see if we can see something. Type of it. Okay, it's a type. So the type of a class is a type. So is that correct? Is that correct? It's oh, you have to create an object first. So my object. So my object is to WOQL object. Okay. No. Oh, I need a ID. ID. Whatever. Okay. And type my object. Ah. So it's the object of the yeah. That's correct. So yeah. So the classes are type. And the type of my object created will be this class. This makes sense. This makes sense. Yep. Yeah, so it's a type. So the type of WOQL object will be a type. Yeah, so that's correct. Right. So I just need a lots of different types of yeah. I just need to have a type. Lots of different WOQL object. Okay. The type of full in class. Class is an instance. Yep. Type is a metaclass. So all the class that it created is actually a an instance. Okay. Yeah. So the classes is instance, and I just realized my computer crashes. Okay, never mind. As long as I'm still streaming, that's okay. I just can't see myself in the other screen, but I can still see my chat on my phone. Yeah. So type is a meta class of which classes are instance. Yeah, there's a high chances of my laptop dying because it's very hot and it's easy for it to go overheating. That's normal, and I'll just switch it off and let it rest. RIP. Thank you. Um, so right. So and oh, this is a okay, so the type of X is full because X is an instance generated by full, and type is actually an instance of type, and type is well, it's the instance of type as well. So everything is an instance of type. So that this is a very good diagram. So how can we put it into use? So okay, type of full instance is full. Yeah, find the class dynamically, and yeah, I just want to know how to use it, please. And right, so that's the meta class, and it's still explaining stuff. Oh, it's talking about how all the attributes are. So yeah, this is continues the site. Yeah, yeah. Now it's all these cookie things are everywhere now. I'm not a big fan of those, but you can't avoid. Um, yeah. Right. Space indict argument passed to type above empty. No inheritance. Yeah, because when you declare a class, just like full, there's no inheritance. So type and yeah, foo is a type of something and something. So this is strained and yeah, the full object. Yeah, so this is what the other close was talking about, right? Because it's called the type function, and then there's 3 arguments. So you put in the name of the class that you're creating, the basis of it, what it's inherit from, and also the dictionary of what attribute it has. So basically, yeah, this is nothing. It's an empty class that is generated. Okay. Right, so we got that clear. And basis is a triple. So now you are creating a type of something. So bar actually is inherit from foo, and it got an attribute that is equal to 100. So yeah, so this, okay, now it makes sense. Yeah, attributes equals 100. So it's exactly like this. Yeah, right. Base is again empty to object. Yeah. Right, so this is another function, is it? So yeah. Okay, so this is kind of like a getter of attribute. Okay. Right. So yep, yep. Okay, that makes sense. Sample for lambda in Python. Only simple function. So what else we could do? Okay, so you just like put in the function here, like just paste it in there. But you need to take an object. So this is usually where you put the self image, I think. Print object shot. So, yeah. So how can you pass in the self image? Assign to. Okay. Yeah. So I think it's just by default the first argument that got passed in this attribute function is self, is the object itself. So whether you call it object or call it self is self. It doesn't matter the name. So the first object that got passed into one of these attribute function a is what we, is the object itself. So it's usually we usually call it self. Okay, got it, got it. And here, yep, right. So how to make a custom master class? This is meta class. This is what I want to do. Right. So I have a class, a core method of whose parent class is called new style class is the type method class. Yes, because like everything is a type, right? Because like what we said. So parent class is the type method class. So it's the standard, yeah. So it's the default would be using the type master meta class. I keep saying master class. So the types call method is involved. So what is in the types call method? So okay, now it makes sense. So this new and init are there. If okay, if foo does not define new and init, oh, so there's also a default init function in type, but usually we will write an init anyway. So, but there's also new. And default method inherit. Okay, so it will be from type. And this is like you have an inherit class. New is defined object.new, then I pass in a class and assign to new method for foo. Okay, so we have a new method and I pass in a class in it, and so the objects.new, okay, dot new equals to new. Okay, we just set, okay, so this is just like an init method, but instead of being, yeah, so this is just like the init method. But I think there's some difference between init and the new. Yeah, so you're just creating this. And then you pass in a class. The interesting is that you pass in a class of it. And so I think that's the difference. Because you pass the class object.new, call the new, and then you pass in the class. And then it will have. So you basically create a new object here. So it will pass back a new object instance. And yeah. Okay, so this new is used to generate a new instance. This behavior of a class. Each time new instance. Appear in the init method, not typically in the new. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So usually, yeah, this you do it in init. It's because yeah. But it's just try to demonstrate. New is like generating a new instance, but it's not setting anything about the attributes. So you want to simply customize initialization behavior. And right, so what we're doing here now is dash type.new. Oh, you kind of override type. You can't reassign new method of the type metaclass. Yeah, type is because they are the grandfather of everything. So if you pass in, if you change the new of it, it's just like, no, that's too dangerous. Don't do it. Python doesn't allow you to change the new method of type. Okay. Yeah. And all new types are, yeah. So this is like a holy grail of the grandfather of classes. Yeah, you can't make a yeah, you can't change anything. Otherwise, Python will be a big mess. Okay, so how can I initialize it? So yeah, we need a custom meta class. That's why we need a custom meta class. Yeah, sorry, I realized that we are not doing a lot of things walkover. We are doing things about meta class. This we are learning a lot of Python here. Yeah. So well, define a meta class. Okay, how to? So I define the class. So it yeah. So if it's inherit from type, it will become a meta class, and you just define a new method. Okay, this is something that I've seen before in the conference, and I found it super complicated. But I think we just have to get used to it. So new would take a class, and then so it's kind of like self, but self is an instant, right? But class is a self, but it's the class because it is a class. Name and basis. Okay, so this is exactly like what we get from type. Okay, for the type thing. So yeah, new, so super.new. So this is something that is new. Haha. So I think it's calling the type. Super is referring to type, I think, and it's calling the type's new thing. So this is basically just like calling type. Right. Specify. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Then I can say like whose meta clause matter. Woohoo. Okay. Okay. Now it's starting to get interesting. I don't know whether you feel the same. I feel very excited about it. Like I really want to try it out. I don't know whether we have time to try it out today, but we will try. Obviously, I will continue like building it, and I can show you the results next time. But it depends. I think maybe we have time to do a little bit of it. Yeah, I'm just like trying to get faster. So now you can have a normal full class. Um, yeah, let's compare. What's the difference? Yeah. Yeah, for all these classes, like you have done nothing, but it's just like you initialize the, because you have make this meta class like this. So you can have some default that every class will inherit, like will have the same behavior because you have written it in the meta class. But the question is like, why would you do it in the meta class and not in init? Because you can do it in init, and yeah, why? Okay. So so this is why this is init now. Hmm. And I put it as a meta class. Okay, so then it would, okay, then X, Y, and Z would carry this init thing. Okay. Class factory. Yeah. Then I can generate lots of different classes of objects. So like, for example, I have objects that is, for example, I have, let's go back to the bike example. So if I have different object of a start station and end station, they're both stations, okay? So for the start station and an end station, there will be multiple start station and end station, right? But the start station could be a because they're both a station in WoQL, so they would have so they would they would be the same class, so they generate by the same factory that is called station. So station is the meta class, okay? So it's generating all the start station. So it's generating a start station and end station. And start station and end station can generate their own instance, which is the exact stations. So maybe that's useful. Is it really necessary? That's the question that I was like just thinking. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, right, right. Decorator. Well, you can do a decorator as well. Yeah. Uh, for something. Return new class. Yeah, just like put that in there. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, just make this new class, put in the class. It inherit the new class. It added in the attribute and then pass it back. So it's like it's decorator. Okay, okay. Conclusion. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know. I'm still not convinced. Let's look at our code and see if like we could change that. Okay. Okay. So let me hide this because we have read enough. And yeah. Oops, I'm not looking at the thing. Okay. So let's see. Yeah. So oh, by the way, I use type hinting. So I think I would run another tutorial on type hinting at some point. Maybe in the Sunday tutorial, not today. Yeah, today just I'm trying something new. I'm like instead of showing a tutorial, I'm showing like the behind the scenes. But I think people are interested in tutorial more, so I may not do this again. I promise. I'm just trying new things. Right. So see if we can make these, cause like I want to um because like I said, this will be the station object in the schema, but it can be, so, okay, so this is the type is the doc type, okay? Yeah. But the thing is like, I could actually, why I can't use it like a class, because it's a class, and then I can generate different objects, right? But the thing is like, the funny thing is like the WOQL object here, I do have a WOQL class here that denote the type. That's why I was thinking, maybe if there's something above this WOQL object, then I could have a type here. Yeah, then I can have a factory of generating all these objects because now, yeah, got an ID. Yeah, but it need to have a type to declare what type it is. So for each object, it's identified by an ID, but I don't know what type it is. So I have to declare type. So that's why I declare type here. And I'm also checking whether the type matches with the schema. Yeah, I'm still not convinced though, because like metaclass is super messy. I don't know whether not sure whether I want to mess with it. But the thing is like what I want to do is that I can just simply check the type. So you can see that now what I'm checking the type is very weird. I first check um whether the value, you know, that I have. So this value could be, so well, it could be just a it could be just like a so else, so this is just a data type object. So yeah, it could be just like string. So what I do is like I just check whether the property value is a so if it's a type string, then then the object will have a yeah then the object would have the property that it would declare that this property will have a type of string. So that's why I have this dictionary here. Okay, so when I generate, an class object here, they will say that, oh, I have a property. I have a property that is the type of it would be a string. So it would be str. So when I have an str put in it, it matches with the string. That's fine. Um, but if it's an instance, yeah, if it's an instance of something else, so this is not this, So it's an instance of an object. Then I will check whether the type of this object is matching the type of the property. So yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I still need some time to think about that. I think before I really, do the surgery of like rewriting this whole bit thing. Yeah, maybe this is like what it should be. Maybe I shouldn't mess with the meta class. I don't know. Um, yeah, but what I gotta do is like I need to continue to write all these things that you could actually put in all the classes. So you what you would do if it's finished, what you do is like you create a bunch of WoQL class. It's like you create, for example, in the bike tutorial, you create a station class, you create a journey class, oh sorry, I'm like really stuck. Create a duration, no, not duration. What was that? A bike, yeah, bike class. So you create those three classes, and yeah, we just like you just add a bunch of them there. So it could be a list of them, and it will just add to the schema automatically for you. So also before you add them in, of course you have to set up the property correctly. You can either call it add property to set that up, or just yeah, just like using a dictionary to put that in. So and then after that, when you insert your data, then so for example, when you are inserting a journey that with a start station and end station, what it would do is like it would just check whether the start station and end station, the value would be that station with that ID, and then you should go there and check whether so yeah, sure, you won't actually put in the ID, you put in the object itself, so it will be some station object, some station WOQL object that you created, and then it will just check whether whether this object is the type, so is it a station type object. If it's not, it would just like give you an error, but otherwise it would be added. Also, I haven't finished, so this bit is to add new property in the add new property in the cell of the properties. I'll add them together. So when I put that in the data, so I would have another method here to like add object. Then what I would do is that I would add in the object there. So I would add in the WOQL object. So again, it will be like, yeah, so it's exactly like this. But instead of WOQL class, it will be a WOQL object. Yeah, I just find it weird that there's two things parallel. But I guess because there's this two schema and a graph, actual graph itself. So yeah, so this is what it would be. This union of these. So yeah, this is the type hinting thing. Yeah, I'll write that later. Um, yeah, so this is what I think. I will just spend 5 more minutes on this because I think, yeah, this is not a very productive episode, I guess. And also, I am going to PyCon Africa to present very soon. I'm presenting a lightning talk today. I did my talk yesterday about how to untangle your spaghetti Python paths, and today I'm going to present a lightning talk. And Sunday will be the data workshop. So yeah. So sorry that isn't much going on this today's episode. I just want to figure it out, this metadata thing, and I think I just need to absorb the idea a little bit more to really like think about it before I can really implement that, because yeah, because I just feel like it may be the right thing to do, but it may also be the not the right thing to do. So I need to really think about that. But I give you a sneak peek of what I'm doing at the moment for the Python client. Trying to make it better. So I would also show you like how you write it in the future actually. So can I look at the smart query test? So this is how you write the things in the future, okay? So for example here, I am writing a, let's say, yeah, I can create a class, like I can create a journey class just by this, okay? So you just add in the journey. You can also add in the label and description, but you can add in later like this. So you can just like, oh yeah, the object dot label equals this. So it's a getter and setter there. Description as well. You can do the same. Um, but also you can create put a property like this, or you can just call it add property like this. So you can just like add property and then okay, add duration, and it's daytime for me. Um, yeah. Or your property also can have label and description. So this is what I'm doing right now. And of course, this is a small chunk of it. I still have to, it would ideally it would be like, terminus db that you give like it would generate a client internally, and then you can add class, add object, delete class, delete object. If it doesn't match with the schema, it will give you a warning. And what else? You can also run a query. You can run a query that I'm still thinking how to return something that actually like how we should communicate, because um, I'm still thinking about that. And also the merge, branch, and all these things that you do on console, I want it to be a easy, like just one call the API with the Python to get that done. So yeah, I guess this is not some. Yeah, it's not an episode that people wanted. So we'll be back next week. We'll be doing tutorial again next week. Don't worry. Yeah, I was just like yeah. Well, you never know. You never know. I will back. Yeah. So like I said, I will be back doing tutorials, and I'm doing a workshop this Sunday. I am still streaming on Sunday. I have to prepare for it. It will be packaging, Python packaging. And yeah, there are like a lot of different topics still in my head. Like today the type hinting thing, I could do another episode of that. And metaclass, I think like once I get my head around and get if I try to work it out a little bit, maybe it could be another tutorial. But I have to test it and really learn it myself first. um, so yeah, I think that's it. Sorry, it's a very short, like not very short, like a little bit shorter episode, and it's not a tutorial. It's kind of like a the making of. uh, so next week we'll be back to our tutorial, and I'm still waiting for suggestions of what tutorials that we should do. Maybe we should do the branching and merging tutorial, because we have never done that, and it's workable. Not in the not well, it's working in the current version, but if we use the newer version with Hub, that would be more stable as well, because you will see the difference when you have an online one and the local one. You can see that you do all this branching and merging. It's crazy. It's like Git. So yeah, so I will have to think like whether we can demonstrate those branching and merging thing um, next week. So yeah. Until then, I will see you in another, tutorial. Oh, by the way, and next week I would be away for a bit, so Meet Pie would be during the time that I'm away, but I'm away with Lace, so that's interesting. That we always do our streaming, online, and we are kind of like two different windows at two different places. I'm in London, she is in Ireland. But next week we'll be at the same place finally. So we will see whether we can do something with Pi that is kind of like special edition, that we are sitting next to each other and doing it together. That would be fun, but we can't promise anything because Wi-Fi may not cooperate. We don't know. So, and I'm not telling you where we are going because it's a secret, and you'll find out next week in Meet Pi. Um, yeah. So until then, I will still do all the tutorials Sunday and Monday before I leave. Yeah, I'm not intended to have a holiday. Like, I mean, well, streaming is fun. It's not like it's not feel like work. Well, it need a lot of preparation, but it doesn't feel very work like at all. Even coding doesn't feel like work. I'm living in a dream. So anyway, yeah, I think I've been mumbling a lot enough now. So see you next week. Yeah, bye.